everyone, I'm your teacher for the day, Usma Rasool. Today I'm going to teach you chapter Transmitting Knowledge. Here are the topics we are going to discuss. First, the evolution and development of written language. Second, the invention of paper and printing press. Third, origin of numbers. The moment we listen, transmitting knowledge, what comes to our mind? Passing of knowledge from one to other. The first topic is earliest form of communication. What was the earliest form of communication? The earliest form of communication occurred with sign and symbols. The Native Americans used smoke signals. Some African tribes use drum beats. Pigeons were also used to carry messages. Later, horsemen were trained to move from one place to another and convey messages. Early man started drawing pictures on walls, clay tablets, stones. These pictures depicted their thoughts, feelings, actions. They draw pictures of those things which they come across in their daily life. This form of communication is known as pictographic communication. Later, pictures were replaced by symbols. Now, the next topic is script. Script is a system of writing. All ancient civilizations have their own script. The Sumerians of Mesopotamia were the first to develop the art of writing in about 3000 BCE. They draw wedge-shaped symbols on wet clay tablets, which were later hardened by baking. This form of communication is known as cuneiform script. The Egyptian script was based on pictures. The Egyptian script was based on pictures to communicate meaning. Their script was known as hieroglyphic script. For example, a man shooting an animal indicated hunting. The Egyptian used 24 letters from these pictures. In fact, the Greek and Roman derived their alphabets from these pictures. And these pictures paved the development for the English language. These pictures helped the English language to develop. The Indus Valley civilization had their own script, but that script has not been deciphered yet. The Brahmi script developed, later Devangri script developed. All South Indian languages have their own script. Now, after this topic, we will discuss the invention or the story of paper. Paper has been derived from a word papyrus, a plant found in Egypt along the river Nile. Before paper, people used tortoise shell, clay tablets, walls, stone as a writing surface. As keeping records became necessary, it led to the invention of paper. The first to introduce, or I can say, paper was invented by the Chinese scholar Zilun in 105 AD. I will repeat, 105 AD. The Egyptian made paper by beating the papyrus leaves into thin strips. The Arabs learned the art of making paper and spread it to the other countries. Next topic is printing. Before printing press, people used manuscripts or handmade records. Printing was first introduced to the world by Chinese. They made patterns on wooden blocks, and these wooden blocks were dipped into ink and pressed it on paper. I repeat, the Chinese used wooden blocks. They made patterns on wooden blocks, and these wooden blocks were put in the ink and pressed it on paper. Printing press. In 1453, in 1453 AD, Johannes Gutenberg, a German, invented printing press. The first book that was printed was Gutenberg's famous Bible in 1456. 1456, the first book was printed. And this printing made possible the production of many copies of books. Next topic is Braille. In 1825, Braille, a blind French student, devised a special script for those who cannot see. This script was known as Braille script. It consists of raised dots on thick paper. While running their fingers on these dots, a blind can easily read. This script helped blind people to read many books, almost in all subjects. Now, the next topic, I can say the last topic of this chapter, is origin of numbers. Early man, we all know early man were food gatherers. After agriculture, they started leading a settled life and became a food producers. They became food producer. Early man became food producer. And after that, they started domesticating animals. But here they felt a need to maintain records of things they possessed. For this purpose, they used stones, sticks, and pebbles for counting. After that, gradually, they began to draw dots, symbols, and figures. Do you know the earliest form of counting was based on 10 numbers? This is because the early man, or I can say this is because the people used to count on 10 fingers. I mean to say the earliest form of counting was based on 10 numbers. This is because the people used to count on 10 figures. The idea of zero or shunya was also developed by ancient Indian mathematician, and they assigned it as a zero symbol. The Arab traders learned the number system from India and they carried it to the other countries. The Europeans learned the number system from Arabs and then they called it as Arabic numerals. I repeat, they called it as Arabic numerals. The Chinese used an abacus to maintain records. This was our chapter, Transmitting Knowledge. I hope you have understood this chapter. And now you can do book exercise and textual questions after watching this video. Thank you for your patience. Goodbye.